Pokemon VGC, or more commonly known as video game competition. Pokemon is an esport like no other. With such deep mathematics, Pythagoras would shit his pants. And this thing. This is Dracozolt, a dragon electric Pokemon formed from scientists not passing the 2nd grade and knowing how to solve puzzles. I mean, they literally took 2 puzzle pieces and could not put them together. A common complaint in VGC is that everyone uses similar teams, with the same bland legendaries every time. And while that's not true, I intend to prove those naysayers wrong. If you're more interested in understanding why using the same legendaries as others isn't unhealthy for the game, Wolfie VGC, the 2016 Pokemon World Champion, has a great video on it and I'll link it in the description. First of all, to understand where I'm going with this, you'll need to understand the team. Also, feel free to use the rental code so you can use this team for yourself. Dracozolt has the ability Hustle, which makes moves 20% less likely to actually hit the target. However, the move power is actually increased by 50%. On top of its slightly above average stats, it makes for a pretty good Pokemon if you use it right. But you may be asking me, lots of Pokemon get Hustle, right? So why use Dracozolt? I'll give you one reason. Look at that face. Now, on this team, I'm using Mimikyu and Lunala. The goal with them is to set up Trick Room, while using these two is just a way to mess with the opponent with things like Wide Guard and Will-O-Wisp, to just limit the amount of damage I'll be taking. Incineroar and Gastrodon fill a similar role in the sense that they are a second form of offense with moves like Earth Power and Flare Blitz, but they also have the opportunity to act as some extra support with moves like Yawn and Fake Out. Groudon is mainly just more offense, intended to take out Pokemon that threaten Dracozolt, namely Zacian and other big fairy-type threats in the format. Okay, now let's get to a sample battle. I know that's the reason you're all here, and in this battle, I'll be fighting against Wally the Bandit, a wonderful VGC streamer over on Twitch, so go check him out, and a link to his channel will be in the description. He does a lot of great content just like this, talking about VGC, and he makes it just a wonderful experience and really fun to watch. Alright, so, this is the battle. I'm going to be commentating, after I edited this video, because I completely forgot to actually do the commentation while I was doing the battle, because it was the heat of the moment, you understand, so I'm going to be walking myself through the battle as it happened. Now see, I here lead with Mimikyu Lunala to guarantee Trick Room goes up with my 2 Trick Room setters, and Mimikyu here also has really good diffusion, is able to burn both of their physical attackers, which really gets my team going in preventing damage. Here comes the Miltank and Dynamax, which makes it really bulky, but my strategy here is understanding that if I can nerf its damage enough, I can just ignore it and take it out at the end. And that is exactly what I do in this battle. And you'll see that Lunala sadly doesn't get too much play in this battle because of the fact that it just doesn't have the coverage moves to do enough damage. Plus, it gets taken out a little early, and this is a contribution to that, because Lunala has an ability called Shadow Shield, where the first hit takes half damage. So, taking that first hit from Snarl really damages Lunala way more than it looks like it does, because the next hit will, in theory, do double damage. Breaking Mimikyu's basically free Sash here doesn't really do much, because I run max HP Mimikyu, so Mimikyu survives this and gets Trick Room up. Well, actually, it goes for the burn here, but let's say if it was going for the Trick Room, it could go the Trick Room up. That's the beauty of the 2 Trick Room setters, is that they have the 50-50 chance of picking the Trick Room setter right, and you can really pick which Trick Room setter is going to be more optimal, depending on which Pokemon they throw out. And in this case, Lunala was more optimal, because I saw Lunala having a lower chance of being knocked out, and I saw the taunt pressure, so I felt like that was the correct option there. And I switch out of Lunala because I feel like I just want to get some early pressure. So I switch into my Groudon. The Sun doesn't really do much for me on this team at all, but I will be able to start doing some chip with Prince of Ice and Fire Punch, which is really valuable. And Mimikyu goes ahead and burns both their physical attackers, so essentially I'm taking half damage from these 2 Pokemon. Because not only does Burn do damage to the opponent every turn, but it also halves their physical attack, which is really big. Mimikyu sadly goes down here, but it really wouldn't have done much the rest of the battle, because it is basically all support. And as Mimikyu goes down, that gives me the free switch into Dracozolt, which is really big. This coaching was a little bit problematic, because having that defense increase made it harder to take out, even though it was already hugely defensive and had a huge HP stat. It was just a headache to worry about, so again, ignoring it at this time was really worth it. There's a strategy called All Your Friends Are Dead. In All Your Friends Are Dead, you just ignore one Pokemon and take care of it at the end. And as Dracozolt comes in here, I get to see his beautiful shiny. We see the Groudon on the opposing side, which is harmful, because having that means that there is ground-type move pressure onto Dracozolt, which is important. Importantly bad, because the Groudon is a burn, so it will be doing too much damage to Dracozolt to really get it going, so we really need to focus down on Groudon here, or that's our loss condition. And the Precipice does decent damage to both of these, and then the Max Quake here is where you really see Dracozolt shine. A Pokemon with that low of an attack stat doing that much to a Groudon at not plus anything is pretty big. So it looks like Groudon won't be really doing much this battle. I don't think it gets to pull off a single Precipice plays onto Dracozolt, which is big. And then Citrus Berry Groudon, which is still a set I don't really understand, because it doesn't really do much for Groudon, like Life Orb or Lumberry will. And you'll see how little damage this will do to Dracozolt now because of all the burn and the attack drops that we're getting onto this Pokemon. And having that special defense increase doesn't really matter to me because I have mostly physical attackers, but Lunala to deal with those Pokemon that are really bulky, especially just in case. Their Groudon protects here, which really slowed down my momentum because I wasn't able to pick up the KO on Groudon this turn. And realistically, what that did is it really nerfed my momentum, and when I say momentum, basically, they stole one Dynamax turn from me, so I have one less Dynamax turn. But realistically, I'm fine because the Miltank Dynamax has been wasted successfully tanked it out, didn't pick up any KOs, and Body Slam is not something I'm super afraid of. Because the off chance that I get paralyzed, it actually speeds me up in Trick Room, and I maintain Trick Room this entire battle, which is the beauty of having a backup Trick Room setter like Mimikyu. And then having the ability to knock out Groudon and lower Miltank's attack is really comfortable for me, because now Miltank is even less of a threat and I can really just sit there and ignore it. They have lost Groudon, which is basically their win condition, because now they don't have a good Groudon to hit into Dracozolt. Not hitting Miltank once directly, and it's being at half HP is big. And then Trick Room runs out, so Thundurus looks scary here. And the big thing on this turn is this switch out here. This switch out was really risky because if they would have foul played into that slot, I would have lost the game. But I predicted that they would try and take out Dracozolt or do something similar. But I'm safe this turn. Foul play, and I'm safe. Foul play would have killed Lunala here because of the loss of the Shadow Shield like I was talking about earlier. Body press from Miltank. Scrappy allows the normal type moves to hit. And the burn goes on. And Thundurus, thankfully, barely doesn't kill Lunala here, for the sole reason of running max HP Lunala as well, which I know is a really weird set, but it's something I'm super comfortable with. And then Bolt Beak, this shows how much damage it can do outside of Dynamax, one-shotting a Thundurus with its signature move, which, by the way, in Trick Room is super good, because when it outspeeds, or not outspeeds, but goes for its opponent, it actually increases in damage. So it's just really good. And being able to survive that foul play allows me to get Trick Room back up, which allows me to just finish off these last two Pokemon. Zamazenta poses a little bit of a threat with the Snarl, so that's why I wide guard here, is because I know Snarl will be able to take out my Lunala prematurely, and I know that I can probably get the Zamazenta KO next turn. But Stomping Tantrum coming out, this shows you the defensive capabilities of Dracozolt with all the other support. It just does nothing, and it's super effective. And then I mispredicted the Snarl, so the B-Bash comes out, which sadly kills Lunala, but which then leads me to bring in my Groudon, thankfully, and finish up the battle. Which I do make a blunder with my Groudon, but I'm so far ahead on the HP and damage game with the momentum that I really have nothing to fear. Now this Groudon, you can see it's perfect. It's not perfect by that. I mean, it has a little lost HP, but it has basically no stat drops, and it has its item, so it's going to be doing quite a bit of damage, which is really nice. So Wide Guard comes up here, which is where I blunder. I use Precipice Blades instead of the Fire Punch here, and Precipice Blades gets blocked because it hits both targets. Wide Guard is a great move. I recommend using it if you don't, especially in this format because of the prevalence of spread moves. Not to mention, it also technically blocks Sucker Punch because you can't Sucker Punch a Pokemon that's not using an attacking move. So it's really good against stuff like Yveltal and Kyogre and Groudon. It's just a great move. And then, see, I don't fall for the blunder here again. And I'm able to pick up the Fire Punch KO. And sadly, I have to take one more turn than I should have because this attack misses here. Which is unfortunate, but that is the drawback of Hustle, is the 80% accuracy on most of its moves. And it actually survives at 1 HP, which realistically doesn't matter because Fire Punch moves first here and kills anyway, as you'll see. But yeah, that is the team, and I'm really comfortable with using it, and I think it's a really fun team to play, and it's really fun to watch people get mad, because most people don't expect this Pokemon to be good, and I love seeing it shine. That's one thing I love about this. And thank you for watching. If you'd like that, please drop a like down below. I'd really appreciate it, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.